Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Now on Fox 50, a water main break sends water shooting feet into the air. We have a look at the damage it caused in a Durham neighborhood.
Two things you need to know stepping out the door. We do have a heat advisory in effect for our entire viewing area. And this evening, a chance for some severe storms. I'll show you who will be affected.
And a woman seriously hurt after she crashes into a school bus with students on board. The charges she's facing this morning.
Plus, road work and the return of college football are expected to create traffic delays. You're looking live this morning at Western Boulevard. We'll talk about the problems you may encounter on your way home from work as the Wolfpack makes its way to Carter-Finley Stadium. Probably a really good idea to make sure you leave with enough time. Thanks for joining us this morning on WRAL News. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Hard to believe that fall sports are here. It's still summer. It still feels like summer. The temperatures are very hot still. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner tracking another really hot day. Also a level 1 risk for us.
Yes, we're not going to see the thunderstorms until this evening or even tonight. And it's most likely to be our northern counties where we could see some wind damage. We take a look at Futurecast and you'll see how much sunshine we'll end up seeing today. We'll kick things off right here at noon, and you can see just a few clouds bubbling up between now and 5 o'clock, and even between 5 and 8, it's still dry. So if you're headed out to anything this evening's NC State football game, most likely all that rain's going to stay to the north. I mean, be weather aware for sure, but it looks like it stays to the north, and it is fairly late in the evening. Headed out the door right now, we're looking at completely clear skies at RDU. Oof, the dew point just climbed to 72. This is a measure of moisture in the atmosphere. When it moves into the 70s, it just feels very heavy outside. 77 is our temperature. So, of course, we are headed right into a very hot afternoon. Heat advisory kicks in at noon. It'll feel like 103 to 105 in the triangle, and maybe even a little hotter than that down to the south. Actual high 98 degrees. Now, the rain that we see this evening is sort of the beginning of a different weather pattern that will be in over the holiday weekend. I'll show you when we'll likely see the most rain. Coming up, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We are seeing the traffic really building on the belt line. Let's isolate that for you in Wake County so you can see exactly what we're talking about. It really starts all the way back to Rock Quarry Road, then stretches all the way into Cary and Jones Franklin Road. It's going to be a bit of a slowdown, probably a couple of minutes to your morning commute this morning. Similarly, on the northern side of the belt line, we're seeing that bit of a slowdown too. That's just part of the morning congestion this morning. We do have reports of a disabled vehicle on I-440 eastbound near Wade Avenue, just probably causing some onlooker delay right now, so keep that in mind as you head out. Another troubled spot really is in northern Wake County, particularly our friends coming in from Wake Forest. You're looking at a major slowdown there on Capitol Boulevard, US 1, between Falls of News and Durant Road. I would recommend going over to Falls of News Road, but that's even backed up this morning. So if you're in Wake Forest, definitely give yourself some extra time because you're looking at a 12-minute delay coming on off of US 1. For those of you coming in from Knoxdale, you're looking at a 9-minute delay right now. And of course, coming in from Apex, it's getting a little busy on US 1 coming north from Apex and all points south. You're looking at a 5-minute delay this morning.
WRAL is following a developing story in Durham where crews are working to repair a road damaged by a water main break. What you're seeing right now, this is viewer video sent to WRAL. Notice the force of the water as it is spraying so high into the air. This happened on Old Orchard Avenue. That's near North Roxborough Street. We know the break damaged at least one vehicle and left several homes without water. The road remains closed at this time as crews are working on repairs.
A woman who crashed into an Orange County school bus is seriously hurt and is facing charges. Troopers say she tried to pass the bus in a no passing zone when she hit it. 19 students were on the bus at the time. The crash happened on Fawcett Mill Road in Hillsborough about 3:15 yesterday afternoon. Troopers say 58-year-old Maritza Brooks tried to pass the bus on the left as the bus was making a left turn. Brooks hit the bus, overturned, and was ejected. 2 children were treated on scene and sent home with their parents. The bus driver was also hurt. Brooks is charged with passing in a no passing zone, careless and reckless driving, and failure to wear a seatbelt.
Federal investigators are working to learn what forced a plane to land on an interstate near Greensboro. You're looking at viewer video showing the plane sitting on I-840 around 8 o'clock last night. Police say the pilot reported a mechanical failure just before the emergency landing. And then after the plane landed, a vehicle hit it. There were 2 people in the plane. One of them had to go to the hospital for minor injuries, but they are expected to be okay. The person in the vehicle that hit the plane had no injuries. Flight tracking data suggests the plane was traveling from Georgia.
College football season is here. It'll be a big night at Carter Finley Stadium for NC State's home opener, and that means you can expect a lot of traffic in that area. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is on Western Boulevard this morning. Kelsey, game traffic combined with construction, that could lead to some serious backups for drivers later.
Michelle, exactly. So if you're driving anywhere near Carter Finley Stadium as a part of your evening commute, you should expect to see some heavy traffic, including here on Western Boulevard. So crews will be working on installing some pipes here around 7 o'clock tonight. That's at the same time as kickoff. So a major construction project that could impact your evening commute near the stadium is on Blue Ridge Road. You're looking at video now of the construction from last month. NCDOT says that the project won't be complete until next year. All of the road projects that were active last football season are still under construction now, but there's one change you may have noticed last week. All eastbound traffic shifted on the Beltline from Western to Wade and Hillsborough Street. NCDOT says they met with the State Highway Patrol to prep for all of these logistics, as there's going to be more traffic tonight for that game. So we'll be sure to keep you updated. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And the college football season also starts tonight for the UNC Tar Heels. They'll take on the Minnesota Golden Gophers in Minneapolis. You can watch that right here on Fox 50. The pregame show starts at 7:30. Kickoff is set for 8.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz will make his first stop in North Carolina today as the Democratic vice presidential nominee. Walz will be the headliner at an invitation-only fundraiser in Raleigh this afternoon. Governor Roy Cooper will be joining him. According to an invitation WRAL obtained, major Democratic donors are hosting this event. And then afterward, Walz will join Vice President Kamala Harris for their first joint interview of the 2024 campaign. That will air on CNN at 9 p.m. A UNC senior is setting her sights on the stars. Carson Kitchen is part of a crew that will launch into space this morning. She is on Blue Origin's 26th New Shepard mission. Kitchen and 5 other people will launch from West Texas, and they'll run an experiment on how plants react to microgravity. Kitchen went to high school in Durham, and she will be the youngest woman to ever cross into outer space. And of course, we'll bring you live pictures from the WRAL Live Center. That starts at 9 a.m. when the launch window opens.
We are working to learn how a 1-year-old boy is doing this morning after he was hit by a truck. This happened in a driveway on Ridgecrest Drive in Franklin County just after 12:30 yesterday afternoon. That child was taken to the hospital.
Sampson County Sheriff's Office identified the person killed in a crash now being treated as a murder investigation. They say Charlie Foss from Kinston is the man who died in this car on U.S. Highway 13. That happened near the Sampson-Cumberland County line. And police say he was shot while he was driving, and then he crashed. Deputies are now treating this investigation again as a murder. The Sampson Sheriff's Office wants you to reach out if you know anything more about this case.
The Israeli military is using drones and bulldozers and other heavy equipment to clear out 2 towns in the occupied West Bank. The Israel Defense Forces launched a large counter-terror operation in the area yesterday. At least 11 Palestinians died in raids and airstrikes. Israel says this is its most expansive operation in this area in years. The Palestinian Authority's foreign ministry is condemning the operation.
A DMV office in Rayford is closed. Hope County leaders addressed this in a letter yesterday. They said the DMV office on US 401 business will be closed for an undetermined length of time. County leaders say they were not notified of the closure and have no control over DMV operations. Anyone with questions is asked to contact the DMV directly. Downtown Raleigh could look a lot different in the next 5 years. This morning, here are the plans business leaders have to transform the area and the challenges they face.
Plus, another teenage athlete died while playing football. Why the concerning number of deaths is raising red flags as football season gets underway.
We have a heat advisory that's in effect for this afternoon. It's going to feel like up to 105 to 107. And then tonight, a chance of some storms. That's going to begin a wetter pattern as we get through the weekend. Coming up, we'll walk through the weekend chances for rain so you can try to plan around it for your holiday.
Welcome back, 8:12 on your Thursday morning as you look live over beautiful sunny Roxborough. Not a cloud in the sky there. Really nice this morning, but is only going to get hotter. It's going to be much like yesterday. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with the big picture right now.
So we have a couple things to look at. One, a high pressure system that's sitting out here near Bermuda, and that is typically where our high pressure systems sit, especially as we're looking at sort of the global weather pattern. In this pattern, we have flow coming out of the southeast and southwest, bringing a lot of heat and humidity into our area. The other thing to watch is this very slow moving or stationary front that's to our north. That's sliding closer to us, and that's going to help to bring us a chance for thunderstorms tonight and then every day through the holiday weekend. We do have a level 1 risk for severe storms. Our best chance of storms is going to be up north of Durham near the Virginia line, say after dinner time tonight. And damaging wind would be the biggest threat, but it looks isolated at best. We'll start here with Futurecast at noon and take it all the way out to 5 o'clock. Just a few patchy clouds out there. With all the sunshine we'll see this afternoon, it is going to be easy to warm up to almost 100 with a heat index up around 105 to 107. Around 10 or 11, we start to see a few isolated storms. They don't stick around long. Tomorrow morning, a little bit of cloud cover, and then once we get into the middle of the afternoon, here come the storms much earlier than we'll see today. And of course, right around the time that a lot of folks may be trying to get out of town for the holiday weekend. So plan extra time, plan to go earlier, plan to go later. Just know that it could be, even more difficult than normal to get out of town with that chance for rain. It may also affect football Friday. Well, we have a 40 to 50% chance of rain during football time at 6 o'clock, 80 degrees, at 8 o'clock, 74. The one thing that we will see as we get into the weekend, a 40 to 60% chance of showers and storms each afternoon and evening, but we'll also see a little bit of a drop in our temperature. Saturday, so we talked about Friday afternoon and evening storms. There's 4 o'clock with some rain. Notice it stays dry in the morning, but in the afternoon on Sunday and again Monday. So Saturday's 40%, 50% chance on Sunday and Monday, but this is not an all-day rain every day through the holiday weekend. It's afternoon and evening thunderstorms. So hopefully if you have outdoor plans, get it done in the first half of the day, and then we'll be dealing with some storms. The tropics are nice and quiet. We have dry air coming across the Saharan desert into the tropics, and that's kept our chance for storms down. Some of the waves off the African coast are a little farther to the north, not affecting us, and some warm air aloft capping some of that thunderstorm activity. So nothing happening really in the tropics, only a 20% chance in the next 5 days, so that's good news. Our temperatures over the weekend will mainly be in the low 90s, a little cooler than today, and then big cool down comes next week as we get into the 70s and 80s, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, traffic has definitely picked up on many of our major roads here in Wake County. And to that end, let's isolate the Beltline, if you will. We're seeing the major slowdowns on the south side of the Beltline, which is usual and typical this time of the morning. So just keep that in mind. You're adding about 2 to 3 minutes to your morning commute. Similarly, on the north side of the Beltline, we're seeing that slowdown begin around the Capitol Boulevard exit entrance ramp, particularly those folks coming in from Nightdale and exiting off that I-87 southbound lanes. A real trouble spot this morning has been US 1, particularly our friends and neighbors coming in from Wake Forest. You're looking at a major slowdown between Falls of Neuse Road and Durant Road. I would recommend Falls of Neuse Road, but even that, a lot of people are getting on Falls of Neuse Road as an alternate route. So you're coming in from Wake Forest this morning, just give yourself some extra time. And to that end, look at this. You're looking at an 11-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest on US 1, just about a 3-minute delay coming in from Nightdale in those southbound lanes of I-87.
Saturday is International Overdose Awareness Day. It's a day meant to remember loved ones who died from drug overdoses, but it's also meant to encourage support and recovery for people impacted by substance abuse. And joining us this morning is the former NCDHHS Secretary and current CDC Director, Dr. Mandy Cohen. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Great to be here this morning in North Carolina.
So in the last month, there were, if I'm not mistaken, more than 500 opioid overdose-related emergency room visits. Tell us a little bit about why it is so important to push for overdose awareness.
Well, first, always wonderful to be in North Carolina. I'm so proud of the work that's going on here, whether it's expanding Medicaid or addressing medical debt, but I'm here to talk about overdoses, and we've still work to do. As you were saying, we saw 500 folks in the emergency room, and 1,800 people in North Carolina have lost their lives already in 2024 to overdose. We can do better, and we are working hard together as a team. It's an issue I know the Attorney General's worked on for his entire 8 years. It's something that the department here and public health have been working on, and certainly it's CDC has been working on it. So that's why I'm here today, to remind folks the fact that it's International Opioid overdose awareness to make sure that we are looking out for each other.
And let's be honest here, there's a stigma with this conversation, right? And some people cast aside those who use drugs. So what can be done to encourage support and recovery for people who are struggling with drug use?
Well, first, we have to recognize that addiction is a disease, and we need to treat it like we do diabetes. There are medicines for it, there's support, and it's important if someone is in an overdose situation, that's a great time to connect them to treatment, to care. And that's a lot of the work that CDC supports, those connection points. CDC also supports a lot of the data work. We can't solve problems we don't see, right? The fact we know we lost 1,800 North Carolinians to overdose, that's work that the CDC has helped do here in North Carolina.
But you mentioned there's medicine, there's help for people, but also there's prevention tactics as well. Talk a little bit about that, because some people want to have the information for them to get over this by their own means.
That's right. So I'm actually going right after this to an event focused on prevention. So you want to know if you are at risk for overdose, if you know folks are using opioids in particular, having Narcan or naloxone to be able to reverse an overdose quickly is really important. You also want something like fentanyl test strips. You want to know what you're taking. A lot of the reasons we're seeing a rise in overdose deaths is because of fentanyl. Fentanyl can kill even one time. So you really want to know what's in that. We have fentanyl test strips, Narcan. Those are the kinds of things that can prevent you from dying.
And obviously, there's help out there for you folks who may be struggling with drug use, and that's something that we, of course, covered on WRAL. Dr. Mandy Cohen, thank you so much for joining us.
Wonderful
today.
to be here. Stay well, everyone.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, the FBI is still trying to figure out the motive of the man who tried to assassinate former President Donald Trump. The FBI released new photos yesterday of the gun used in that shooting. The photos show the weapon's collapsible stock. Investigators say that may be how he concealed the gun at the site. The FBI says in the 30 days prior to the shooting, the shooter made more than 60 internet searches about President Biden and Trump. And business leaders in downtown Raleigh have a plan to make the city a top destination in the country in the next 5 years. They unveiled their ideas during the State of Downtown conference yesterday. They say a big part of it is making downtown more accessible from all corners of the city. That could include pedestrian bridges connecting downtown with Dix Park and NC State's campuses. And Downtown Raleigh Alliance President Bill King says improving safety downtown is also a very big part of the goal.
We've been heavily focused on security resources, as you know, with the private security, RPDs stepped up. But at the end of the day, we also have to add more things for people to do to create more of that safety in numbers.
And then, of course, we have a very historic downtown.
And the State of Downtown Conference was a chance for business leaders to come together and get on the same page. And now they'll take their ideas to city leaders.
Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center. There is a major typhoon hitting southwestern Japan right now. Typhoon Shanshan, it's called. I want to show you how it's bringing some heavy rain to that area, strong winds, as well as some high waves and disrupting traffic on land and in air in the country. They've canceled bullet train operations as well as flights. There are warnings about mudslides and river flooding as that torrential rain hits that area. Reports of tornadoes sighted on the ground as well. More than 30 people have been injured. Well over 100 houses have been damaged due to the strong winds there, and the rainfall total as of nighttime as it is over there in Japan right now. They've received as much rain in this event as they do in a typical August month.
So those typhoons are no joke. Thank you, Jeff. As the new school year gets started, you might be thinking about letting your child play football. Well, something to consider, there have been several teenage athletes who have died this year playing football. We're talking about 7 total this year. 5 of those happened in this month alone. Last week, a 13-year-old West Virginia boy suffered a brain bleed after a hard hit during practice. He passed away on Saturday.
You wish it was a bad dream that you could wake up from. Love to make other people happy. He liked to, joke.
Researchers say football fatalities, they're rare. However, a study released last year found 16 players at the youth and collegiate level died. 13 of those are confirmed to be related to football activities. Causes of death include traumatic brain injuries, heat stroke, and sudden heart or lung failures.
At least 6 people are hurt after severe turbulence that forced a United Airlines flight to divert. The flight from Cancun to Chicago landed in Memphis yesterday because of that turbulence. Paramedics met the plane at the gate. 1 person was taken to a hospital.
United Airlines flight attendants at 20 airports across the country are on the picket line. The union representing the flight attendants voted yesterday to authorize a strike. They say they want better pay and more schedule flexibility. There's a 30-day period before a full strike would begin, though. United Airlines says it is working toward reaching an agreement with the flight attendants on this. Federal investigators are trying to determine why a plane landed on I-840 yesterday night. Coming up, a look at the aftermath, which included a car hitting the plane.
And we have new details about a school bus crash in Orange County. What charges the woman responsible is facing after trying to pass the bus in a no passing zone.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Thursday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. We are in for another hot day today. Meteorologist Elizabeth Garter tracking a heat advisory for us, also a level 1 threat.
As hot as it's been this week, this is the first day and likely the last day that we'll see a heat advisory. It's going to feel like 103 to 105, maybe even 106 to 107 in some of our southern counties this afternoon. So just take it easy. Level 1 risk for severe storms, mainly up near the Virginia line after dinner time. Our rain chances this afternoon are pretty minimal, but definitely go up in our northern counties this evening. Exercise outside, just do it inside for today. Temperatures climb into the upper 90s this afternoon, close to a record high. It's a little bit cooler over the weekend. We'll also have a better chance for storms. Ken?
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center, we have reports of a disabled vehicle on I-440 in the eastbound lane near Wade Avenue. That's probably the reason for the delay you see right there on I-440 and Wade Avenue. But checking those delay times, a real trouble spot this morning. US 1 coming in from Wake Forest, they're looking at an 11-minute delay. Also a 3-minute delay on those southbound lanes coming in off of 87. For those of you heading into Durham this morning, you're looking at a 5-minute delay on I-885 in those northbound lanes.
Thanks, Ken. NC State is kicking off football season tonight at Carter Finley Stadium, and we're expecting some heavy traffic and delays due to construction in the area. One of the largest construction projects is the area on Blue Ridge Road. The game is scheduled for 7 o'clock tonight. It's a good idea to leave early. And a woman who crashed into an Orange County school bus is seriously hurt and facing charges. Troopers say she tried to pass the bus in a no passing zone when she hit it, overturned, and was ejected. 19 students were on the bus at the time. 2 children were treated on scene, and the bus driver was also hurt. We'll have more news and weather and traffic on Fox 50.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Right now on Fox 50 at 8:30, a water main break in a Durham neighborhood shoots water high into the air. We'll take you out to the scene where damage is left behind.
And 2 things you need to know before you head out the door. We have a heat advisory that will go into effect this afternoon and a severe level 1 risk, especially for our northern counties. I'll walk you through both of those.
And a pilot made an emergency landing on a North Carolina interstate. This morning, a look at the aftermath and a rundown of what happened after the plane landed.
Plus, college football season. Hard to believe it's back in the Triangle. We have a look at the traffic delays expected as NC State fans make their way to Carter Finley Stadium. That will be later on tonight. It's going to be a busy night. It's going to be a fun night. We'll tell you all about it. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
I'm Chris Levingood. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be out there on the road. They'll be able to see North Carolina State Flower, the traffic cone, as you're driving there to the game. We've got meteorologist Elizabeth Garter to get you started with your weather forecast, and there's some severe risk you're talking about.
Right, and everybody thinking about doing some tailgating at the game tonight may be concerned about this. It does look like for the bulk of us, it's going to be up near the Virginia line, mainly north of Durham, and happen fairly late in the evening. I'll walk you through the timeline. Damaging winds would be the biggest threat. Now, technically, the threat covers the entire viewing area, but watch what we see here on Futurecast. We're dry and sunny and hot through the afternoon. This is 5 o'clock with some scattered clouds, and at 8 o'clock, we're still dry. And then after that, we see some scattered storms develop between, say, 9 and 11 up near the Virginia line, but they don't travel farther than, say, Durham. So whatever you have planned this evening, in most cases, should be okay. A live look at Raleigh here. RDU completely clear, but already really sticky out there. 72 is the dew point. That's high on the Muggy meter. 77 is our temperature. Heat advisory goes into effect at noon. It'll feel like 103 to 105 from the Triangle area northward, but maybe even a little hotter than that, maybe up to 107 down around Fayetteville or Clinton. Actual high this afternoon Again, 98, that's just 2 degrees from a record high. Now, we do get into a slightly different weather pattern over the weekend. I'll show you when to expect more showers and storms coming up, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, all new into the WRAL Traffic Center. We just got reports of a crash right now that happened in the Cary area. This happened on Carytown Boulevard in the westbound lane near Western Boulevard, not far from the station, actually. It just happened in the last couple of minutes, and we're not seeing any issues really to talk about since it just happened. But I'll keep an eye on it and let you know exactly what's going on. Let's isolate the Beltline in Wake County and show you what's going on there. You can see the slowdowns on the south side of the Beltline beginning around Rock Quarry Road and going all the way to Jones Franklin Road there in Cary. And you see that's not far from that crash that I just told you about, probably adding a couple of minutes to your commute time. We're seeing similarly the same scenario playing out on the north side of the Beltline. Those are those westbound lanes there around Capitol Boulevard, Wake Forest Road, and on to Six Forks Road. The other trouble spot this morning is US 1 coming in from our friends at Wake Forest and all points north. You're seeing a huge backup between Falls of Neuse Road and Durant Road. And the good news is Falls of Neuse Road has cleared up quite a bit. So as an alternate route, you can probably take Falls of Neuse Road and avoid the backup that you're seeing right there on US 1 coming in. Because right now you're looking at an 11-minute delay coming in on US 1 there in Wake Forest, and just a couple of minutes delay on those southbound lanes of I-87.
Thanks, Ken. We're staying on top of breaking news in Durham, where crews are working to repair a road damaged by a water main break. Take a look at this viewer video sent in to WRAL. You can see the force of the water as it sprayed high into the air. It all happened on Old Orchard Avenue. That's near North Roxborough Street. We know that the break damaged at least one car and left several homes without water. The road remains closed at this time as crews work on repairs.
A woman who crashed into an Orange County school bus is seriously injured and facing charges. Troopers say 58-year-old Maritza Brooks tried to pass the bus in a no-passing zone when she hit it. 19 students were on the bus at the time. The crash happened on Fawcett Mill Road in Hillsborough. That was yesterday afternoon. The crash happened on Fawcett Mill Road again, and troopers say that after passing the bus, Brooks hit it, caused her vehicle to overturn, and she was thrown from the inside. 2 children were treated for injuries after the crash, and the bus driver was also hurt. Brooks is charged with passing in a no-passing zone, careless and reckless driving, and failure to wear a seatbelt.
Federal investigators are working today to figure out what forced a plane to land on an interstate near Greensboro. You see it right here in the video. The viewer video shows the plane sitting on Interstate 840 at about 8 o'clock last night. Police say the pilot reported a mechanical failure just before the emergency landing. A car hit the plane after it touched down. Police radio traffic indicates a person on the plane was also hit by that car.
Plane then landed on 840 eastbound, was struck by a vehicle. Passenger on the plane got off the airplane and was struck by a vehicle, but is conscious and alert at this time.
And the person who was hit is expected to be okay. No one else was hurt. Data from flight tracking website FlightAware shows that plane took off from a small airport near Augusta, Georgia.
It's going to be a busy night around Carter-Finley Stadium, and you can expect traffic backups as fans make their way to NC State's season-opening football game. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is helping you avoid the congestion as drivers also battle construction there.
If you're driving anywhere near Carter-Finley Stadium tonight, you should expect to see some heavy traffic. There are so many road projects that are happening all over the area, including here on Western Boulevard. Crews will be here tonight installing some pipes around 7 o'clock, and that's right at kickoff time. A major road project near the stadium that could impact your evening commute is on Blue Ridge Road. You're looking at video now of the construction from last month. NCDOT says the project won't be complete until next year. All of the road projects that were active last football season are still under construction now, but there's one change you may have noticed last week. All eastbound traffic shifted on the Beltline from Western to Wade and Hillsborough Street. We caught up with NC State students who live near downtown. They say they're leaving early for tonight's game to avoid the traffic.
It takes like 20 minutes to get there, so it can be kind of crazy, especially on game days. I mean, our stadium is like right down the street, should take 5 minutes, but it never does, so you have to leave way earlier.
NCDOT says they met with the State Highway Patrol to prep for any traffic impacts from tonight's game, so we'll be sure to keep you updated. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And the college football season also starts tonight for the UNC Tar Heels. They will take on the Minnesota Golden Gophers in Minneapolis, and yes, you can watch that on Fox 50. The pregame show, it starts at 7:30 with kickoff set for 8.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz will make his first stop in North Carolina today as the Democratic vice presidential nominee. Walz will be the headliner at an invitation-only fundraiser in Raleigh this afternoon. He'll be joined by Governor Cooper. According to an invitation obtained by WRAL, the event is being hosted by several major Democratic donors. Afterward, Walz will join Vice President Kamala Harris for their first joint interview of the 2024 campaign. It'll air on CNN at 9 p.m. And with dangerous heat expected today, Wake County school officials will be watching for HVAC issues at schools. Students at Sanderson High and Wakefield Middle were sent home early yesterday because of problems with air conditioning. Students told WRAL that classrooms were either too hot or too cold. Maintenance crews are working on repairs. Nearly 150 units are due to be replaced across the district.
6 more people have died in the listeria outbreak connected to Boar's Head deli meat. This includes 2 people in South Carolina, and that brings the number of deaths to 9. 57 people have been hospitalized. 71 products under the Boar's Head and Old Country brand names have been recalled. They were produced between May 10th and July 29th. And this is the largest listeria outbreak in the United States in more than 10 years.
Well, it's going to be a busy weekend for people traveling for the Labor Day holiday, and there's some good news. Lower gas prices. AAA says overall it's seeing a 2% dip in the cost of traveling this year over last year. And the national average for a gallon of regular unleaded gas, that stands at $3.36 a gallon. The North Carolina average is even lower at $3.15 a gallon, and the average in Raleigh, $3.22 a gallon. If you are hitting the road today, you'll want to take advantage of the light traffic happening right now. The best time to drive is before 11 a.m. The worst time is from 1 to 7:30. And then tomorrow, it's best to leave before noon or after 7. The worst time to be on the road is between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m.
Airports across the country are preparing for its busiest Labor Day travel period on record. The TSA expects passenger traffic to be up more than 8% over last year. RDU expects to see a record of nearly 200,000 passengers through the holiday weekend. That is more than 13% compared to last year. RDU recommends booking your parking online. That way, you can secure a spot.
Coming up, the 2024 Paris Olympics are in the history book. Now another group of athletes will compete for their spot. Today marks the start of the 2024 Paralympics. A look at the day's competition with more than a dozen medals on the line.
And don't you dare say his name 3 times. Beetlejuice premiered in Venice last night. We've got a look at the stars dressing the part for the movie's big debut.
And it's going to be another really hot day out there. Temperatures nearing 100 degrees. You're looking live right now at Lake Gaston. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner has more on this afternoon's heat advisory just ahead.
Looking outside in downtown Raleigh this morning as a beautiful blue skies there. It's almost said sunset, goodness. Just go to Elizabeth. It's Thursday, it's not Friday yet. You're watching WRAL's, okay, go with weather.
Yeah, it's almost a holiday weekend. I totally feel you, Chris. I'm going to be next, blah, 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 blah. We do have a severe weather threat for this evening. We have the potential for some wind damage up near the Virginia line. A lot of things going on this evening. A big football game, NC State. It looks like the storms will be up to the north and not affecting folks if you're planning to head out and do some tailgating. You're going to be out this evening doing anything. Between now and 5 o'clock, we just see a few clouds that start to pop up. And then by 9 or 10 o'clock, up near the Virginia line, a few cells pop up. 1 or 2 of those could produce some wind damage, but it's really going to be from Durham northward, and it should end by around midnight or so. Now, that is the beginning of the change in the pattern that we'll see that comes through over the weekend. We'll have a much better chance for rain on Friday into Saturday, Sunday, and most likely Monday as well. It's not going to rain all weekend, though. I'll show you coming up. 77 now. This is a live look at Wake Forest. Beautiful sunshine, but getting hot already. Our dew point is 72. That's the highest dew point that we've seen so far this week at this hour, and so hence the heat advisory. It'll feel like 103 to 105 for most of us, but there may be some pockets where it feels like up to 107. So this is the only heat advisory we've had this week, as hot as it's been. So take it seriously. We're looking at triple digits by around lunch lunchtime, and that continues on until around 7 o'clock or so. So just take it easy outside. A lot of folks thinking about heading to the beach. So here's a little tease. Karen Horner sent this beautiful sunset from Carolina Lake. And Carolina Lake, if you don't know, is actually right on the island, Carolina Beach. Go to WRAL.com, search Weather Watchers. We would love to see your photos. Boy, it's going to be a hot one as the kids get off the bus. 98 in Durham and Raleigh, 99 in Fayetteville, but of course feeling like triple digits. And we continue to see tropical dew points from Friday all the way through Sunday. So through the weekend, it will feel like 104 to 105 in the Triangle today, 101 tomorrow, and then we're into the 90s Saturday and Sunday. Again, football kickoff. It's not really feeling like football weather, except in Minnesota, where it'll be in the 70s this evening. You can watch UNC take on Minnesota on Fox 50 at 8 o'clock tonight. NC State hosts Western Carolina at 7 o'clock. It's going to be hot at game time, but temperatures should drop off nicely. And then Elon comes to Duke Friday for their home opener, 7:30. We've got a pretty good chance of thunderstorms on Friday afternoon and evening. Another thing to think about, even if you're not headed to the game, if you're headed out of town, it may be pretty messy during the evening commute. Now, Saturday and Sunday, we have a 40 to 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms, but it's not going to rain all weekend. If you have outdoor plans, try to get it done earlier in the day before the storms begin. We have an end in sight to some of that stifling air. Look at that, 78 by Wednesday. How about that?
We'll take it. Thanks, Elizabeth. Well, former President Donald Trump's campaign is defending his visit to Arlington National Cemetery earlier this week. The Trump campaign posted a TikTok video showing highlights of his visit on Monday. It was the 3-year anniversary of the deaths of 13 service members during an attack on Afghanistan's Kabul airport. Trump blames the Biden administration for their deaths, and federal law prohibits political campaign or election-related activities within national military cemeteries. The Trump campaign says an Arlington Cemetery staff member blocked members of Trump's team from joining him during a solemn ceremony.
The State Board of Elections will call a special meeting today. They're going to vote on whether Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will stay on North Carolina ballots. Yesterday, the We the People Party requested their candidate be taken off the ballot. Days ago, Kennedy suspended his presidential bid and endorsed Republican nominee, former President Trump. And this comes days after Kennedy suspended his presidential bid, as I mentioned there. Even if the request for removal is granted, well, it's quite possible that his name could still stay on the ballot there.
And the Franklin County Sheriff's Office is investigating a shooting they say started as a road rage incident. It happened at the intersection of US 1 and Pocomoke Road. No one has been arrested at this time. And education leaders in Wake County will celebrate the expansion of a preschool program this morning. Wake 3 School serves low-income 3-year-olds in the county. The program provides free pre-K education to eligible families. The program is expanding to 300 seats. That's triple the number it started with in 2022. Wake County leaders will talk about the expansion at a news conference this morning at 9:30. And students and parents in Durham Public Schools have a chance to meet the new superintendent today. Parents Against Crime is hosting a town hall this evening. Families can ask Superintendent Anthony Lewis questions about the new school year. Today's event starts at 6 p.m. at the Halton Career and Resource Center on North Driver Street.
Your time is 8:48. Farmers across our state are dealing with significant damage to their crops, and that is threatening our food supply. Something to think about more here. Extreme weather events have killed hundreds of thousands of acres of crops. We're talking floods, we're talking extreme heat and drought, all being responsible. The USDA provided roughly $100 million in insurance assistance for farms with damages from Tropical Storm Debbie. The storm caused crop losses in 30% of North Carolina counties, and more than 3,600 farms in the state had to shut down since 2017.
All SpaceX launches are grounded as federal authorities are investigating the botched landing of a booster rocket. The rocket fell as it launched onto an ocean platform after a launch yesterday morning. The Federal Aviation Administration says it must approve corrective action from SpaceX before it can resume its Falcon 9 launches. It's too early to know if this will affect SpaceX's upcoming crew flights, one private and one for NASA. And AT&T workers will rally in Raleigh this afternoon as union workers begin a 14th day of striking. More than 17,000 members of the Communications Workers of America decided to strike after they say AT&T failed to bargain in good faith during negotiations for a new union contract. Raleigh area CWA members will rally at the AT&T Stockyard, that's on Hubert Street, today at 3:30. Last week, CWA and AT&T Southeast entered into a federal mediation to help finalize a new contract.
All right, let's go ahead and get you that live look this morning outside in Paris. The Arc de Triomphe, where the first day of the competition in the 2024 Paralympics has been going for quite some time this morning. The first medalist will be the track cyclists. The women's qualifying race got started at 6 a.m. It's also a very big day for swimming, with several races throughout the day and 15 medals on the table. Races started this morning with the men's 400 freestyle, and that'll wrap up tonight with the women's 200-meter freestyle final.
And the opening ceremony for the Games was a historic one. Yeah, look at that. It's in a first for the Paralympics. The opening ceremony took place outside of a traditional stadium. Competitors from over 180 countries paraded down the Champs-Élysées. Team USA brought 225 athletes to Paris. The Paralympic Games will continue through September 8th when the closing ceremony will be held.
Lego is working to make its bricks more environmentally friendly. The company says it's going to replace fossil fuels that it currently uses in the bricks. The plan is to use renewable resin instead by 2032. The renewable products will come from biowaste such as cooking oil or fat. The new resin will make production costs rise about 70%. The company says it will absorb the cost instead of charging customers more. So that's important for you if you buy Legos. And the company hopes this move will help accelerate the industry's transition to sustainable materials. The Golden Globes find a host for the 2025 ceremony, and Kerry Washington guides an all-female army. Ashley Dvorkin has more of that in Hollywood Nation.
I am giving you my best. Washington leads, Bad Bunny joins Caught Stealing, and Glazer hosts in the Hollywood Nation. Nikki Glazer will help celebrate one of Hollywood's biggest nights in TV and film. The stand-up comedian signed on to host the 82nd Annual Golden Globe Awards. The ceremony airs on CBS and streams on Paramount Plus January 5th. Bad Bunny has lined up his next acting gig. According to Deadline, the rapper and singer has been cast in the Darren Aronofsky-directed crime thriller Caught Stealing. He joins lead star Austin Butler, who will play a burned-out former baseball player fighting for survival in the downtown criminal underworld of 1990s New York City.
Y'all ready? Never let go. Never let go. Never let go.
Halle Berry's big screen haunting is in today's first looks. The new trailer for Never Let Go features the Oscar winner as a mother with twin boys battling against an evil spirit to protect her family's bond. The psychological horror thriller arrives in theaters September 27th.
A lot of people do not want us to succeed.
Kerry Washington headlines Tyler Perry's Netflix wartime drama, The 688. The film is inspired by the first and only all-black female battalion serving overseas during World War II. Washington leads as their commanding officer, Major Charity Adams. The film will start a limited theatrical run December 6th, ahead of its streaming premiere December 20th.
Welcome to the Women's Army Corps.
Beetlejuice hits theaters this week, and the stars shined on the red carpet. You see them there. The movie premiered at the Venice Film Festival last night. Jenna Ortega, Winona Ryder, Michael Keaton, and the rest of the cast even got a standing ovation. We'll get you an update on weather and traffic. That's coming up in just a couple of minutes.